Hello, my name is Colin Jarvis, and today I'm going to be talking about my online project, Online Instruction Delivery versus Face-to-Face Method of Instruction, an action research project tested in 4 6th grade elementary technology classes. The reasoning behind the research for me is because it's very authentic to a problem that I have consistently. I only see students for a limited amount of time, which is 40 minutes a week, so I have limited access to them. Students are absent, we have school delays and cancellations, those are the big three, and also professional development, conferences, assemblies, and holidays. The average student misses 15 days per year in Sandusky. Also, with school delays and cancellations with being so close to Lake Erie, students are missing multiple days per year, or as in my case, if they have a morning class on a delay, they would miss me and that would be a whole week off anyways. I miss roughly 4 to 5 days a year for professional development where the district calls me out to go to a training or to train other people in the district. So when that happens for me, I have to have a sub who can't get into Google Classroom and that way can't run my class as it normally functions, and students are missing out on time that way. Conferences as well, we have day conferences, morning and afternoon, so students are missing time there. Assemblies, which can't help when those are scheduled, but mostly they fall on Mondays and Fridays. And also holidays count against students. There's a 3-week period where Friday classes do not happen in the spring because of how the calendar is set up. I miss a class on a Friday because of spring break, and then we come back and we have conferences, and then the next Friday we have an afternoon incentive. So I'm going 2 weeks without seeing some kids, 3 weeks without. It's almost an entire month in between classes. I need to be able to reach students more effectively. Google Classroom is already used every class period, but can it be used even more? I use Google Classroom in grades 3 through 6 to have students go online and find a template, or to go online and submit their work through the class. With all the issues with students missing time, students are very fluent in navigating Google Classroom independently. I think that they can be trusted to go online without instruction from me in person and find what they need to do and complete it by themselves. Most students have technology at home, and all students have access to the public library, so technology isn't an issue for a student to use outside of class time. The first step was identifying the problem. I could see that after 2 years of teaching that it is essential that I need to find a way to reach students more than just face-to-face, because I can see all the multitude of reasons that they are missing class and that we need to be able to reach them outside of just a face-to-face. Even if it is just for a specials class, this could also translate over to homeroom classes. Step 2 is implement Google Classroom more. In my second year of teaching this past year, I started implementing it more by getting the homeroom teachers involved in the upper grades with 5th and 6th. 5th and 6th grade teachers also use Google Classroom to assign assignments, have students turn things in, and also communicate with their teacher outside of class. This way, my students in 6th grade were more prepared to do this action research project that I developed later in the spring. With Step 2 and implementing Google Classroom more, on to Step 3 about training students on how to do assignments independently with no instruction. Even the homeroom teachers and me, even if we did assign things on Google Classroom, students weren't just getting on by themselves, reading instructions, reading the steps, looking at examples, figuring out how to do something, doing it, and turning it in all by themselves. We would still communicate with them during the class, let them know what our expectations are, what we expect them to do, complete, read, turn in. We haven't done anything where we just said log on and read and figure out what to do and how to do it by yourself independently. And that's what Step 3 is all about, training the students on how to do that so that they were able to complete the unit and get the assignments done as if I were giving them face-to-face instructions and then having them complete it online. The fourth step is implementing the unit. Some classes were online completely, the other ones were face-to-face and still completed the work online. and then I was gathering the results. The students had 5 different assignments that they were to do in the unit, and then step 5, analyze the results and see what kind of progress was made, whether online completely works or if it doesn't, and face-to-face is the right way to go. There hasn't been much formal research done about how school delays and cancellations directly impact students' success in the classroom, but I did find a couple of articles written in the past couple of years that kind of hit on different things that I was noticing. Gavel says that it is more detrimental to keep a school open during a storm than it is to close. And what he meant by that was that students were coming to school during a storm, but the class was only half full or a third full. So the teacher had to make a snap decision, decide whether I'm going to continue with my lesson as it is and just teach who's here, and the people who aren't I have to play catch up with, or do I just find a different activity to do with the students who are there, that the kids who don't come during the storm, it won't be too beneficial that they miss out on. The next quote by Goodman says, students miss many more days to absences than to closings, and poor minority students tend to be absent more often. What Goodman's saying here is that students are going to miss time due to absences more than closings, but in a district where I'm coming from, where we're getting delays in closings, and we have a lot of absences because of poor and minority students, both these articles hit on contradicting views, but both are directly impacting me because absences, school delays, and closings are the big 3 things that are keeping me from seeing students for multiple class periods in a month, and also over the course of the year it becomes very excessive. Another article that I found was written by Alyssa Moronis, and she talked about how fixing the problem of absences or snow days, called Snow Days Turn into E-Learning Days. Moronis talks about how students were able to do 3 e-learning days to help make up the time lost due to snow days. And this was back in 2014, where the school that I was student teaching in also lost, I think we had 16 or 17 closings, not counting delays. At the time I was student teaching in 2014 when Moronis wrote this article, instead of having e-learning days, I remember that my school, we had blizzard bag days, and students took home different packets of things to work on while they were at home to make up for the loss of class time that we had. The class that I was teaching in was a 5th grade social studies and language arts class, and all students had a Google Chromebook that they were allowed to take to and from school every single day. And we did a lot of things with Google Slides and Google Docs, but we didn't do many things about Google Classroom. I wasn't very educated in that yet, and I learned more as the year went on, and we were able to do more things towards the spring, but we had already missed our chance to kind of turn blizzard bag days into e-learning days. Now that I've been a technology teacher for the last 2 years and I'm working on my master's, I've learned more on how to do different things and facilitate online. It has become much easier for me to do. And also with having students grades K through 6, I see the same students over and over. I have a good familiarity, and I was able to kind of implement this online project. The students have been doing Classroom for 2 years. They know how to do things, and it was nice to be able to test out this online delivery method only compared to a face-to-face blended approach. I made sure to train the online delivery class because even though they know how to navigate Google Classroom alone independently by themselves, I had to make sure that they knew how to actually go in and click, find, and read to see what things that they were supposed to be doing. Because even if I said, okay class, today we're getting on Google Classroom, I have an assignment posted in here, I want you to read this, I want you to read that, and then I want you to kind of compare this, write an answer, and submit it to me. So that's what I would say to the face-to-face class, but the online class I would not say anything. They're coming in and just having to find everything by themselves. So that's what I wanted to show them, an example of how I want them to walk in, be able to log in, and know exactly what steps do I need to look at, what do I need to read, what do I need to submit, how to find all of that by themselves. Also, I wanted to show them how to make sure that they knew how to ask for help from me. Or one of the projects was a project together, how can they ask a classmate for help? So the steps they must follow when logging in each day to read instructions and complete work, that is the biggest thing, because that is what I'm saying right when they're walking in the room. They need to be able to know how to find that. Otherwise, doing this project and trying to find the data is going to be not very authentic, because I'm going to be helping them. I don't want to have to help them while gathering this data. I want it to be authentic, that they're actually getting on and doing all of it themselves. That way I wanted to show them a couple of trial days by showing them exactly what my expectations are. Class 1 and 2 are classes that had the complete online delivery mode. Class 3 and 4 had the usual face-to-face delivery mode, where I would tell them exactly what my expectations are. And the numbers under assignments 1 through 5 are the class average as a whole for the assignment. Although starting out was rough for both online delivery classes, by the end of the unit their class averages were around what I would expect them to do. When looking at Class 1 and Class 3, those are my strongest classes on average, and that showed by the end of the unit, because it didn't matter how much instruction was delivered, they outperformed the other two classes on average. Class 2 is always my lowest performing class, and that is why I wanted them to be part of the online delivery only method, because I wanted to see one of my strong classes and one of my weakest classes with the online delivery mode only. Assignment 1 and Assignment 2 scores were very low for the first two classes, and then you can see a steady improvement by Assignments 3 and 4. Class 3 and 4, they're normally in the low 80s. As they progressed through the unit, they were improving and finished around the mid 80s, as well as Class 1 finished with an 84 average at the end, which was the same as Class 3, who usually is right below Class 1, and they finish as the same. Class 2, which is the weakest one, got better as it went along, but it was not as good as Class 4, which they are usually pretty close to that class in average. My final thoughts in looking towards the future: students who struggled in face-to-face class continue to struggle given all online delivery mode. Students who succeed usually in face-to-face adjusted to online over time and began to succeed in similar fashion with online delivery only. The students who struggled a little more than they usually did with online, and I think part of that is because they're used to having my help, having me verbally help them, instead of other students who they're used to helping online, things like that. They needed more help, and I wasn't really giving help to them because I wanted the data to reflect how much they could do independently. The students who did succeed, though, it took them some time to adjust to it, and they actually succeeded the same as what they usually would with just the face-to-face. In the future, I will continue to do more online delivery classes to train the students in case of one of the many reasons we would happen to miss a class period, but I won't do a completely online delivery mode of instruction again. Instead, it will be more of a blended instruction of both, so that I will be able to face-to-face tell students, hey, this is what we're doing, you guys can get on and do it. I won't just say log in, read your assignment, and do it by yourself. I will actually still be able to give them a face-to-face and the online, so it will be a combination of the both. The online delivery mode of instruction will only occur on emergencies based on when a class knows ahead of time that they won't have their class in the coming week. So if we know there's Labor Day coming up and Monday is going to miss their class, I'm going to say, hey, this is what's going to happen on Monday. We're going to do an online class, so be prepared to check your Google Classroom. Assignments, instructions will be here. Make sure you do this, and make sure you turn it in on a certain date. That way, students aren't just completely lost if we have a snow day and they're completely behind. I will let them know, hey, like the weather looks bad, in case this happens, or in case of a holiday in the coming week, make sure to check your Google Classroom.